Hello everyone, Kathy here and welcome back to my channel. Today, I will not talk about my personal experience, but instead, I would like to introduce you to one of my good friends. About a year and a half ago, I met Justine while she was biking from Montreal to Miami and stopped at our house for a quick shower, a warm meal, and a comfortable bed. Good morning, Justine, and welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning, Kathy.
How are you doing?
Very good. What about you?
Doing really well, thank you. I understand that you are a French citizen and were quite content living in Paris as a firewoman.
Can you please tell us a little bit more about your previous life?
Sure, yeah, with pleasure. When I was 18, I moved to Paris, and my dream since I was a kid was to become firewoman in Paris, so firefighter. So I trained for like a year, and then I finally made it. And then I became a firewoman, like in a firehouse. But it was kind of a disappointment because it was really hard, and I was the only woman. So it was just a very not as I imagined. But forever, my dream was to travel the world, and this dream of traveling the world was still calling me. And I was not alone. I was with my ex-boyfriend, so we were sharing the same dream. So of course, it was easier to take the first step and say, okay, let's go, let's live together, because, okay, for sure, when you are two, you are stronger. When I left France, it was like a one-way ticket, and it was for actually a very long time.
That sounds really exciting. So how did you proceed?
So it was really kind of spontaneous. It was not really planned. It was, let's do it. So in 1 month, we basically did all the process of canceling every membership, like the phone, electricity membership, everything. But because we were kind of afraid to be stopped by our friends and family, we decided to don't tell anyone. So it was for a month, it was our secret, and we prepared everything just together. And so we left kind of in secret, just telling our family at the very last time.
That sounds so exciting. So how did you feel the day you walked away from your apartment and realized that all your belongings could actually fit in one backpack?
It was amazing. It was this huge feeling of freedom and excitement, of course. But in the meantime, it was also, oh my God, what did we do?
What kind of mistake?
Exactly. It was also like all this feeling, all this emotion, all these thoughts. For me, the biggest moment when I realized that we don't have anything left is when I actually give back the key. And for me, it was really the thing that made me realize that actually we are traveler, homeless. I don't know how you want to call it. It was... we left, but it was really a mixed feeling, and we didn't really prepare well. Like a lot of people, when they leave to travel for like a world tour, many people are like, okay, we live for a year, we have our flat bag or something back. When we come back, we have still our job. Some people can just stop for a year, but for us it was, we just quit, we just gave back everything, we just abandoned the flat, everything we own was in this backpack.
Wow. I don't know. That's a lot of courage right there. So how were you able to stay financially independent during all these years that you moved from one country to the other? So first, what is your first country that you traveled to?
Okay. Before, like, we were both firefighters. So during our like normal life, we took our holidays. It was always Asia. So each time I had time, I was going to Asia because it was really where I felt good. For this world tour, for this big trip, it was approximately 1 month per country. So we did a lot of country, almost all of the country in Asia, like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, Sri Lanka. So this was like for about 6 months. So at this time, we were still living on our saving. So we didn't have a lot, like the same. Most of the people I knew is 15,000 euros for 1 year. But we had only 10,000 euros for 2. After 6 months, we were like, okay, now we have to find a way to make money to work. So we decided to go in New Zealand because it was not very far for a working holiday visa. So you can go, you pay, I think it was $200 or $300 for a working holiday visa, and you can work and travel for 1 year. So we arrived in New Zealand and we worked in New Zealand. So in different things, truly backpacker jobs like picking apples or working in fruit factory where we pack apple. Like it was really cool actually because we worked with Maori, Like we were at the opposite side of the world, packing apples with Maori. We stayed like 6 months in New Zealand to save more money, and then travel even more in this area, like Bali, New Caledonia, so all of this part of the world. And we really love Taiwan. So Taiwan is kind of a mix between Southeast Asia, which is more poor, and Japan, which is really rich. So it was a good balance, and people are just so nice. In Taiwan, it was for about a year. Yeah, and I had a degree in education in France from La Sorbonne in Paris, the university. So I was like, maybe actually it could be a good idea to teach French. I was the only one to propose the French classes. Like I put like flyers to propose the French classes everywhere in Taipei, the capital. And I had like almost 300 students. That saved a lot to can continue later the trip.
That's very well. So traveling, you're talking about traveling. How were you traveling? Was it that's on the bike, right? Did you have your own bike at the time, or?
All of this period was just traveling with public transport, so just backpack and like so train. A lot of hitchhiking. All of New Zealand, so both islands in New Zealand and Taiwan. So this was really easy. In these two countries, really easy and very safe. So hitchhiking, and the bike trip came later. Just after Taiwan, it was so the first time I came to America to do a biking trip in California, from San Francisco to Mexico and come back to San Francisco to Las Vegas.
Okay. And when you stayed in Thailand for 1 year, was it easy to find an apartment?
We use a website called Workaway. It's like an exchange, so you stay for the time you decide with the family. You have a lot of choices in the website. So with this family, it was just teach them French, and they just wanted the cultural experience. So they just wanted foreigner in their place.
That's really interesting. So you're saying it's Workaway, right?
There is a second website called HelpX. So like to help, and X like an exchange.
Okay. And this works all around the world or just in Asia?
It's really everywhere. And that's why we discovered Taiwan, because we just knew like a made in Taiwan, like we didn't know this place before. And it was really going through all of the country. I was like, oh, Taiwan sounds good. And so then we met this family. And so it was the very first time we went. And then they were really our family. They helped us so much, like for everything.
That is unbelievable. Now, did you ever regret your decision? Because you left for so long. Did you miss your home and friends and your family? How did it go? Did you regret this?
So I can't say I regret, because the reason I am where I am now in my life, the person I became, is because of this decision. But yeah, for sure, like it was not every day easy. So like, for example, I hear a lot, oh, you are so lucky. You are so lucky that you got to travel all over the world, like that you got to do this. But I'm like, it's not luck. I really don't like when someone tell me this, because yeah, I took a lot of risk. It was like really abandoning a career, like it was the army. So it was really safe, and that didn't feel right for me. I knew it was not where I belonged. It was not my place. And I had this calling, like I had to leave, I had to do something else. It was what I really wanted, and I knew that it was the only way to do it. It was the best decision of my life, but not every day was easy. So as I said before, we left, we were two, and we break up during the trip. So then I kept going by myself for like about a year, and later on I met my actual boyfriend. So during my trip, so this trip made me and built me and really made the person I am now.
What advice would you give to our auditors?
So for me, it will be really, it doesn't matter what is the dream or like, what you really wish to do, what you really want to do, is just to follow your dream. Because always everybody has different opinion. And then, of course, it's good to listen. But if you listen too much, it's too much noise, and you forget to actually listen yourself and what you really want in your heart. And it's dangerous, I feel like. So that's why when we left, we decided to don't tell anyone, because I was too afraid that everybody will say, no, it's insane, it's crazy, why are you doing this? So I think it's just, listen at people, but not too much. Just try to really follow your gut, your intuition, what you feel like really deep down. And for this, it will be the first advice. And then to have the courage to live the life you want, and like the life which is true to yourself, not the life others expect of you. I'm supposed to like take the shop of my parents. I'm supposed to. What is good for someone and what feels good for someone is not, maybe not for you.
Yeah. You said something that is actually really interesting, because last week I had an interview with Colin, and he said exactly what you said, that everyone tells him, you are so lucky to be where you are. And he said, yes, I did have a lot of luck, but on the other hand, I had to work really, really hard. So life is putting you, with other people who do not have the courage, who wish they had done things, who do not have the courage to move on, and then they are telling you how lucky you are. And so
I think, like, for like the specific topic of travel, it would be really, I'm lucky for just one thing. I will say is, first of all, nothing bad happened, so we were lucky. Still, I was lucky on the people I met, but it's also like to be French. Honestly, like the fact of being French and having a French passport is a true luck. This is really a luck. I agree. I have, because this passport is really strong and let us go almost everywhere. So this definitely because I had a friend I was traveling with from Sri Lanka, and for him it was really hard. So yes, definitely to be French is a true luck. Other than that, it's really like your decision and just your courage sometimes.
And to be able to find out a way to earn money on your own and so forth, that's really interesting. Now, when I met you, you were helping an organization that was in turn helping children. Tell me more about that, please.
So when I came back in France for the first time, so it was actually 2 years ago. So it was after this first bike trip, and I just loved this type of travel so much that I wanted to keep going. But I also wanted to do it for a purpose and like for kind of a mission, to don't feel just, okay, I'm biking. I wanted to have a purpose. And yes, being alone on the bike, but having also feeling other with me and just helping in my way. So when I went back to France, I contacted a different organization. So this specific association, so in English, it will be To Each One is Everest. Everybody has his own goal, his own Everest. It was created by the first French woman who climbed Mount Everest. And basically, she made a parallel with like the alpinists who climb mountain and kids who are sick from cancer. So basically, when alpinists go like to the top, they climb to the top of the mountain. It's kind of the easier part because you have your goal, you have your destination, you are motivated, and you are in kind of still in a good shape. But then when you go down, it's where alpinists who died, they all died going down. Because you are tired and you are like sick of it, you just want to be down and be like eating well and like being cozy in your sleeping bag. So, and you are not as careful, you just go down. So it's really dangerous. So she made the parallel with this for the kids. So basically the top, the summit would be when they recovered, but then going down is really hard because for them, they are like used to be sick kids. They are used to have all the attention. So basically she organized like trip in Chamonix, so in the Alps, and she brings them also to climb some mountain and just learn to don't be too protected anymore and just to be just kids again.
Oh, that's really interesting. Can you give me the name again, and just for anyone out there who would like to look at this organization? What is the name of this organization again?
So in French, it's À chacun son Everest. And in English, I will say To Each One is Everest.
That's very humble of you. Thank you. So now I understand that you wrote a book. Can you please tell us a little bit more about that book? Don't tell too much because I know it's not out yet, but give us a little bit of information on that book.
Yeah, so during this biking trip, so to put the context, during my big biking trip from Montreal to Miami, I met you, first of all. I met you in New York. And then I met my boyfriend in Washington, D.C. And so after I finished my biking trip, he was sent with the army, the US Army, to Barbados. So I joined him and I lived with him there for like about 9-10 months. And during this time, I was like, okay, it's a perfect timing to write this book. So basically, it's about like these 4 years of travel in my life. The lesson, or everything I learned during this time, and all the people I met, and kind of a resume of my life, because it's even before I begin the trip, like maybe for my grandchildren later. And everything I learned to show that everything is possible, doesn't matter how, when, and where, like doesn't matter how you do. If you want something, you can always reach your goal. Writing the book was kind of a trip by himself because that took about a year. hopefully that will motivate someone else to realize his dream and just
once it's out, you're gonna have to come back to us and explain to us, okay? So I understand it's gonna be written. You wrote it in French, but it will be translated. So when it is in English, you and I have to talk again and just update everyone. That would be really nice.
Yeah, with pleasure. Yeah, definitely.
I can't wait for this book to come out. So thank you so much, Justine. And listen, good luck for all your future. That's really, really nice. I really enjoyed talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you. And I hope that people who listen just will have maybe it was a little push. I just hope always that can help even just one person.
All these people who are out there and they are being told by their families and friends you will never succeed, do not listen. Just listen to that little voice that you have inside you. I think that's what you told everyone today.
It's really, and let yourself be happy or happier. Just enjoy simple pleasure and reach goal, but one bite at a time. Like if you don't see the full elephant, like sometimes it's like that look huge, you have this huge project, but just step by step it's possible.
That's very good advice. It's actually a really good advice. I'm going to take some of that advice for myself and run with it. That's really cool. Thank you, Justine. So if you, just like Justine, would be interested in participating in one of our future recordings, if you have questions or if you would like to share your adventure, do contact me at bbonclody@gmail.com. Stay tuned for our next episode and never stop dreaming. Thank you, Justine. Thank you so much.